because we're starting with FC Cincinnati. They have some people saying that they put together the greatest transfer window of all time. We'll talk about it because this team is at the top of the Supporter Shield race, even with San Diego. I think behind on goal differential, if I remember correctly, at the time of recording. Have a day off. Um, and instead of taking their foot off the pedal and just winding it into a playoff spot, they have revamped their entire lineup to take control and win the thing. They've made 5 moves so far. Ender Enchanike on a U22 deal, Ayub Jabari, Samuel Gidi, and then on deadline day, they brought in 2 huge moves: Dominic Marzchuk from RSL on loan, and another loan for their former designated player Brenner to come back from Udinese. They also let go of 3 players. Corey Baird is out the door. Sergio Santos was waived, and DeAndre Yedlin heads back to RSL. As I mentioned, some were calling this the best window in league history. What are your thoughts?
I think those people are absolutely delusional. I don't know what they're talking about to call this the best window in league history. Come on. I'm all for supporting your team and their moves, but like let's calm down a minute here. That's insanity to call this the best window in Major League Soccer history. It's a lot of moves that have the potential to be good, but they're bringing in guys that just like are not in form at the moment is the way I would describe it. Like you're bringing Brenner in, right? Brenner went to Udinese, as you mentioned, after a breakout year for FC Cincinnati and had an injury that made him miss a lot of time. And since that point, just cannot get into the team, just does not play. He has amassed a whopping 575 minutes for them and scored a singular goal. I understand there's potential there. Like he had a insane season for FC Cincinnati and maybe he could do it again coming back, but it is potential we are talking about here. We are not talking about peak Brenner coming back to this team. I can't be like that's one of the stars of the window. I can't be saying that a guy that could be good is the best window of all time. And to be quite frank, it's the same thing with Marchuk as well. Be huge potential when he first joined RSL from Jagiellonia. Like he had 16 goal contributions at 19 years old. Comes over to RSL. I don't know what happened the first season. Like maybe it was a summer transfer window move. Maybe it was a combination of some injuries. RSL fans will probably have more information on that one. But he just didn't get involved a lot. Looks like he spent some time back at Jagiellonia too after he joined RSL. And then this season he's gotten a bit more game time and hasn't really been involved a ton on the score sheet. His underlying numbers aren't really anything that's super impressive. Maybe the positional change, because I did hear they were talking about playing him as a wing back. Maybe that sparked something for him, but it's another one again where it's like the potential's there, and I understand that. But they also gave up a first round pick to bring him in on loan. It is a short term thing where they gave up a first round pick for it. I think it's good. Like it's good for FCC in terms of pushing to win the Supporter Shield and being ambitious. But to call it the greatest window of Major League Soccer history is insane to me.
Yeah, well, it's super interesting, right? So you mentioned the ambition, and I love the ambition. They're, like I said, joint on points with San Diego. Instead of coasting, they're out here trying to push and get better and bring in these reinforcements. And our friends on Twitter, the FC Cincinnati side of Twitter, they mentioned that the 2 big areas they needed to fix were the second striker to Denke and a better right wing back. They weren't really thrilled with DeAndre Yedlin. They moved on from Yedlin, of course, and then brought in Marschuk, who underperformed at RSL. Shout out Matty Casey, his player to watch, was telling me that he was going to be 15 goal contributions. I think that was the number he put out there. I'm so sorry, Matty. Well, I'm hoping he has a bit. I'm
Why are you
hoping
calling him out
DeAndre
like this?
Yedlin.
My goodness.
Oh, he knows. He knows. I told him. But he was all gung ho on him, and it turns out it didn't work, and that's football for you. But and then they add Brenner in that second spot. They also added some depth, in the form of youth players and such, right? The U22 signing and players of that nature, which could help in the short term, but are also preparing for a long term project, right? Which is great. While I'm happy for the ambition, I don't even know if this puts them. Not only is this not the best transfer window, period, I don't even think this puts them over the edge for San Diego. Like, I don't think this makes them significantly better, if better at all, than San Diego, right? You've got Marschuk, and we've spoken about this conversation a bunch, where taking a right back to make him a right wing back is a lot easier than making a right winger a right wing back, right? And that's what you're going to try and do here. You're going to try and take a winger and try and not only teach him the defensive side of the game, but also ask him to play more of an attacking side of the ball, which could work, it could not work, right? And then you get to Brenner, like you mentioned. I mean, he was underwhelming in his first, year at Cincinnati. He had a good season before he moved on to Italy, and he hasn't played, right? I don't want to say this isn't going to be a good move in the end, but when you're in competition for the number one spot in the table, right? Two guys with just over a combined 1,000 minutes played this season and only six combined goal contributions. I'm not sure that's the killer signing they need to push them over the edge, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I still stand by. I think there's potential for it to be a very good window, but there's also the potential that this ends up being an absolute nothing window. Like if these guys don't pan out,
Say
it ends
the
up being nothing.
term.
Like these are not
Say
short.
the term. Say the term.
What's the term?
It's a nothing burger. Say nothing burger.
It's
We
a nothing burger.
we love nothing burger.
Are you ready for dinner? Because FC Cincinnati is serving potentially nothing burgers. Yeah, I mean, like the same way it has potential to be really good, it has potential to be absolutely nothing for them, and it ends up being a flop, and the moves don't pan out because you're taking a risk on these guys. These guys, like I said, are not coming in stellar form. You're taking a flyer, and you know what? All means like that is the right move for, in my opinion, for Cincinnati to make because they are in a position where the team is really good as is. So if you can get one of these guys to pan out and really like hit that potential for them, it's huge for them. I think it's great. You know, they're in a position where the team's going to be good even if these guys don't pan out. So I think it's good moves for FCC and I understand them, but I'm nowhere near close to calling this the best window ever. I think Messi joining alone, just hit that one transfer, is more impactful than all these moves combined.
Yeah, I mean, and I know we're gonna get some slack from the FC Cincinnati supporters, and that's okay, right? Because that's
Yeah, I mean, back
they're
your
hyped for
guys.
their
I understand it.
yeah, they're hyped for their team. Good for you, right? I'm happy that you're hyped for them. It just doesn't move the needle for me. And the other part too is there's such a very interesting way that you're building your team, right? Where you've got FC Cincinnati who are building based off of kind of hype, kind of experience, more international based, and then you've got players from San Diego who are basically just a U.S. youth national team being coached by a former U.S. youth national team coach, right? I mean, you've got guys like David Vasquez on loan. You've got guys like Manu Dua, by the way, is playing really well. He's a draft pick. Oscar Verhoeven, Leo Duru, who they just signed in, Luca Bombino, like all of these players who are just basically you have the U.S. youth national kids who are balling out at a level. Now, do the internationals take over the Americans? I don't know, but right now it just feels like San Diego's got a better vibe about them, and I don't think Brenner and Marschuk put them over the top.
Agreed.
Cool.